12. Zant gets back to her phone, tells the record keeper to gauge the distance from the legend spacing, and gets back that from the entry of the complex, there should be an entrance about 130 yards north of the entrance, and another should be 100 yards south of the entrance. She gets that info to the team that is out there and tells them to find those entrances, so that they can prevent running. They were going to try to do this right, their running won't be acceptable this time. It is starting to get late at night, or early in the morning as most might say, and they were hoping the team would be able to find it before sunrise. Zant gets two pictures, about 10 minutes apart, both are of what could be considered entrances or exits. One is hidden behind an area of overgrown brush and weeds, and there is no walkway, but some of the brush has been pushed aside to uncover it. These are storm cellar door entrances, and a spinning wheel, sort of like a bank vault door opening, or ship helm wheel. One is in a recently built shed covering the door. There are homes near the bunker along with the general store that is close by. They were able to see within the shed, the same sort of entrance or exit, the same sturdy concrete and wheel door entrance. Zook asks the question a few are wondering.
Wonder why the places around there still are active if the bunker is supposedly messed up, or toxic like the signs say. The property value must be pretty low, cheap houses, unless they are just military or contractor owned anyway.
Zant gets a text, sunrise, going back to the hotel. Should we meet tomorrow? She texted back in the affirmative and needed to make some more plans. Zant says quietly,
Damn it, we'll need to have a party tomorrow for some of my employees, for some of us to feed and go.
She gets onto her phone to start that plan.
We all need to rest and feed. Anyone need blood?
Mick raises his hand shyly, and Zook shakes his head.
I'll be okay, but I need somewhere to rest. They know of my place and my driver is predisposed. I sometimes sleep in my car, but need someone to keep me safe.
I bought the housing complex close by, just in case for emergencies. You can rest in one of those. It has been a few months, so I have only been able to renovate a couple of houses with underground safe rooms. Most of the houses are small, that is on purpose. All are secretly renovated with underground safe rooms, retrofitted with special sprinkler systems that spurt the smallest bit of water around it to prevent anyone from sneaking around, and locks on the inside. I can only protect against so much.
She is going through all this while typing an email on her phone.
Don't use an umbrella, and there is a chained up decently comfortable bed so that no one can hide under it, or someone can be sneaky, just get a little wet, and then you can rest easy for the night. There is a little fire alarm lever next to the light to push down on to get it going. There are towels covered up in small shelves to dry off. There is not enough space for anyone to hide. Tonight, I'll be having a company party for anyone that needs to get some blood, then we will be getting out there to get things done, again. Give him house 202.
Rachel, the record keeper, goes into her computer bag and pulls out a key and hands it over to Zook. She says in a quiet tone,
Get going, you'll want to get comfortable, Mick, you will want to get out of here as well, to rest for the day.
This might have been the first time he has heard her actually say more than 3 words. He is a bit surprised by the meekness in her voice. The record keeper continues.
To get to the complex, you'll turn left out of here, next right, and follow it about 2 miles till you get to a housing complex on the right, called Rose Homes. It will look pretty basic, but that is the point. Some will be rented by other humans eventually, but not yet. Different houses will be staged for guests, or out-of-town kindred. Some signs will take you to this one, and it is staged for a single person. Door to the safe room will be in the bathroom, where the towels would be, underground of course. There are small screens next to the entrance. Each person sets their code, in and out, 4 numbers, and it changes nightly for the guest. You set the code, there is a manual override on the inside, if the electronics get messed up so you don't get stuck inside the room, and another button to not allow electronics to work, in case someone tries to break in. On the other side of the entrance, there is a panic button silent alarm to call for backup in case there are issues. You will see the lever away from the light just in case someone is trying to hide. It is air sealed for misting abilities of some of our kind and those that we don't know. There is a sprinkler system on the outside of the room as well that you can set off with a drain under it just in case someone is trying to hide, which you can use that next night, and it will be hard to destroy. The screen on the inside is set to a camera right outside the door, which you can press to see outside. You press another button for the sprinkler, inside and out, and watch for outside intrusion. Breaking the sprinkler or camera is very difficult, but you will be able to see. If you see anyone, press the panic button for help. If the camera looks blacked out, someone might have sprayed stuff on the camera and you can hit the panic button. Any questions?
Zook smirks and asks,
Yeah, are you going to get all that, in a pamphlet or something? That is a mouthful.
Yes, but you get to go in when they are new, so I had to tell you.
He says in a non-smiling, monotone voice, not breaking a smile at all. It is getting late, or early, so Zook gets moving out of the studio, and out to his car. Now that no one is in the back, and he is driving, it feels definitely strange. He decided he needed a new, smaller car, even just a two-seater, smaller so no one can mess around, and he can drive. He had some changes he wanted, and he is no zant in cash flow, but he had money saved up over the decades. He started the car and got moving. On the way there, he is thinking, he has to figure out a way for a new car, he needs land to build a new place so no one knows, and he needs to make some ghoul construction workers and mind wipe them when done. This is going to be a chore. Decades ago with his last place, it was so much easier to pay a few people and do this stuff. Now there were so many records he would need to keep out of the wrong hands. He sees the complex and turns in, signs obvious to the row of houses, so he follows them to the key he got from Rachel. Cookie-cutter homes are up and down the complex, small one-floor homes, probably as basic on the inside as they are on the outside. He parks in the driveway, uses the key, and goes inside. As they noted, it certainly is staged, does not look like anyone lives there obviously. New furniture, new everything, it is all shiny and no dust on it. He walks around checking the place out and sees very few rooms with doors, a bedroom with a twin-sized bed, a couple of kitchen cabinets, and a bathroom, which he enters. The bathroom still smells like bleach. He walks over to the closet and opens it to find a short walkway down to a small fairly thick door and a control panel, just as it was explained. The light from the bathroom shows some of the staircases, but another light right on the inside of the door shows another light. He turns on that light as well to see his walk down. He sees it would be hard to get a running start to punch your way into the door. The sprinkler he notices is hard for others to see if they were not looking, which would get most of the stairs and the front of the door. The camera above and to the side will be able to show most of the front, and walkway up. There is a metal ring around a thick-looking glass so it would be hard to punch or knock over, and even a hammer would be tough to punch its way in, to break it. The display says, Guest, as a username, and a number pad. Requested code, 4 digits, remember them to leave, and wipe your prints from the pad when done, is shown on the pad, and there is a cloth above it. She sure has thought of quite a few things here, he says to himself, putting in his day and month of birth, which he sort of doubted most would know. Access granted, a digitized voice claims, as he hears a small click at the door. He opens it to see a possibly 20-foot by 20-foot room. As explained, it is basic. Chained up bed against the wall, with a small covering to protect it from water, small shelving. The shelves above have a plastic curtain over most of the shelves, but it is flimsy so no one could hide in it, or under it. There were 5 small drains in the room, obviously for the extra water, and a small table for something next to a large and outdoor padded patio chair, to handle the water. He closes the door, hears a little click, looks over at a switch marked for sprinkler, goes over to it, and clicks it up. A sprinkler in the middle of the room extends and sprays out a small bit of water, no surprise, no shower, but enough to cover him a bit, hitting his face, coat, and legs. He looked around and saw no one, and pushed down the sprinkler and it stopped. Looking back at the door, he remembers about the outside, so he looks back at the little display that he could see, and there is a camera button, and a number display. He pressed the camera button, and with a night vision camera he could see the staircase. He turned on the sprinkler and saw water spraying down the stairway, and thought to himself,
Hot damn, I thought I had a system. This is what money can buy. I need to run this sort of setup at my new place, if I survive anyway.
He turns the sprinkler off, and the camera times out after about 15 seconds, showing the number display again, and he walks over to the shelf and opens the curtain. He probably should have done that, before getting wet, because there were no towels on it, apparently not yet stocked. He takes off his coat and wipes off his face and takes his clothes off, and shakes them off. No one else is in the room. He didn't need to worry about modesty, his underwear is fine anyway, it is getting early. He unchains the bed and it collapses down to have leg support flop down as well. This place is cozy, perfect for a day's rest, and he would need it for the night ahead. Laying down, he hopes his guard is okay. He gets out his phone and saw that he had a little reception in here, the magic of technology. He texts, Bud, get to the hospital to check on Steve after you are done with Jane, and watch him for the day. I'm at a safe place that my boss owns. His last thoughts were of Fluffers. He hopes she is still alive. If she is dead, they would have probably found her at his place, or somewhere close by his place, but nothing yet. If not, he can get another one. She was someone else's cat, not his, and a dog. He also thinks as he closes his eyes, letting oblivion take him for the day.
I do hope I can teach Steve to talk to them. He would probably freak out. It doesn't take vampire blood to use, so I can't see why not.
Zook wakes up, that next night, fairly refreshed and ready to get things going. He got out of bed, which is surprisingly comfortable, not that it matters for guys like him, he can sleep like the dead. The water that is left on the ground after the little spritzing is gone after draining for the day. His clothes were dry on the patio furniture and he threw them on. He wonders if the no towel thing is a joke, but didn't care. It is a cozy little secure, just in case room. He could probably do this for a while, but he couldn't hang here with his guards, unless they took him upstairs. It might work, he'll have to ask Zant. He puts in the code, and the electronics seem to work fine. He hears a click, but he forgets to check the hall for others. He presses the camera button on the touchpad next to the door and the night vision comes on with the camera on the stairs again, and it turns on to display outside that door. He didn't see anyone, but he needed to check just in case. He puts his collar up over his neck on his beige trench coat and clicks up the water switch, and watches. No one is on the stairway from what he can tell, so he turns it off, and lifts the bed to chain it to the wall again, then walks out the door, feeling pretty good about himself for a bit. This is such a neat setup. He gets back to his car and looks at his phone. He forgot he did not have a charger for his phone. Of course, they are all at his place, but he can get his charger from the back of the car. He does that and gets in the front seat to plug it in, and drive. He powers his phone back on and sees a couple of texts from Bud. One thanks him for the night off, and the other bit of allowance of fun, also. I'm at the hospital with Stevie, he is a little messed up but he'll make it. The docs say that the hammer that was used to punch him on the side of the head was used with such force that it did crack his skull and they will have to do an X-ray to see how things are. Well, crap, he might need to ask Tina for help. A cracked skull might have been a death sentence for some, but he knew a gal. He texts back, all is well, watch him. Make sure it works out, we have a thing to do tonight, you two know the drill if you don't hear back from me. If you don't hear back from me, look for a petite woman named Tina, out of our group, if any are still around. Ask her for help with Stevie. Zook drives his car back to the gathering, where he is one of the first there. Rachel is with Zant in a limo that is pulling up shortly after he got there. He has to wait for some time till more of his colleagues make their way in. Most are up front taking turns checking out the area and making suggestions. Some of the first to arrive for the night are the other magicians from where Alisan is from. They were here to help as well. They had some different abilities that were likely going to help some more for the night. Zant is off stage and looking over Rachel's shoulder checking things out as well, and calls out.
Hey, zip it everyone, we have things to discuss. We have plans, we have gear, we have weapons, so let's get this out in the open. Does anyone pretty badly need to feed? I have a party going on that is in a building on the way there and we can fuel up a bit there. Anyone dies, you are going to get it from me.
3 of them raise their hands, and she acknowledges their need. Zant goes over their supposed plans, hoping that they will have things in order. Once those are given.
We have ghouls going with all the separate groups, each will have a Molotov cocktail, acid, and need to be protected. The creature that is with the fang, or might have been one of the stronger members, could handle a werewolf on his own, but it is not the 19th century anymore. We can try to make it not so much of a fair fight. There are some already there hiding, we will text them and get them to meet us. They have some idea of the plan. Let's move people. I have vans and trucks pulling up already.
Without much more to say, they leave the studio, and jump in vans and trucks, and haul out to the bunker. The calm is over an hour as they have little to say to each other. The van with Zant is looking at blueprints of the place and making suggestions on where they might put more people or other options. Zant texts back to the crew hiding near the bunker.
Keep one watching each secret exit, and one at the main. Start walking towards the general store, and the group will meet the rest there.
She gets a text back. Understood. The crew gets there after too long of a ride with other kindred. Not that anyone smelled like sweat, none of them actually sweat anymore, but they all had the things they chat about, and it wasn't with others so close by, that could hear everything. They needed to make a stop for a few of them that needed blood. Zant had to be the boss to show up at the party, to say hi to most of them, but had to fashionably get out. Some people even asked to be fed on by those that needed it. Their devotion to Zant is unquestioning. Once the few who needed it were able to get enough blood to help them this fight, they were off once again, and Zant is able to thank her employees and informed them of a decent bonus as a present, which evoked a cheer as they were leaving to get back in the vans and truck.